This video is recorded in 2024 as a job aid to GeoOps and the GISS workflow. It will cover file naming conventions and the GeoOps file namer spreadsheet. To understand why we use file naming conventions, please review the GeoOps file naming page. The general format for file naming is date and time, incident information, other information. The main exceptions to that format are exported map products. For map products, the file names begin with the map type, size, and orientation, so that they can easily be identified from a plotter queue and sort logically by map type in the GeoOps directory. GISS have a couple of options to construct file names that are GeoOps compliant. The first option is to simply refer to the examples on the file naming page and type out the file name based on where you're at in the GISS workflow. The second option is to use a spreadsheet called the GeoOps file namer. GeoOps file namer serves as a job aid for constructing file names based on inputs from the GISS and is stored in the Tools folder of the GeoOps directory. The file namer is formatted to follow the GISS workflow, both in order and in color. The top part of the data preparation section is where you can store incident information that you gather from your resource order and from either the National Incident Feature Service or the Irwin ID search app. Don't forget to update the software version to the version of ArcGIS Pro that you are using. This can be crucial information when troubleshooting issues that may arise on assignment. Only use the zone field if you are on a zoned fire. The rest of the data preparation section of the file namer contains file names constructed by the incident information provided that you will use as you work through the data preparation section of the GISS workflow. In the Edit Incident Data section of the spreadsheet, we can construct file names for incident data, GPS data, and IR data we received from other resources on the incident that need to be filed into the GeoOps directory before being processed, converted, and added to the offline copy. The date and time created or collected fields allow you to account for when data were collected or created by somebody else. When it comes to the fire perimeter, use the date and time that the perimeter was collected. For example, if you receive a KMZ from an Operations Section Chief, or OSC, who flew the perimeter in a helicopter and recorded a track using Avenza, first of all, this is GPS data we're talking about, and second, the date and time that is important for that KMZ file is the date and time that the OSC collected the data in the air. They tell you they collected the data at 1000 today, so I would input that in the time created or collected field. GIS feature type is a track, so it's a line. The data source is the OSC, which isn't available in the drop-down list, but I can add it on the drop-down option tables tab of the workbook by locating the data source table and adding the value in one of the blank spaces at the end of the table. Back on the file namer sheet, I can pick OSC from the list. Now the data collector name, the OSC, is Evans, but again, that name won't be on the list. And that field data collectors table is actually pulled out of the other tab, and it's right here because it's used so frequently. So I can add Evans here, and now I should be able to pick his name from the data collector name list. The optional data type in this case is the perim or perimeter, and the file type is KMZ. So this is my GeoOps compliant file name for the fire perimeter collected as a track by OSC Evans on January 18th, 2024 at 1000 hours. The next section of the file namer is the Update the Master Incident GDB. This is what we're going to use after we sync the edits we've done to the offline copy in our edit project. The offline copy is a mobile geodatabase, and we need it to be a file geodatabase to use as the source of all of our map products. First, we back up the offline copy as a file geodatabase. And the file namer is going to automatically use the current date and time in the file name of the backup. Once you have that backup geodatabase created, you would copy it and rename it to the master incident geodatabase name here and file it to the root of the incident data folder. Onto the Create Incident Maps and Digital Products section. This first block is for naming IR maps that the IRIN creates if needed. These second two blocks are identical and offer multiple opportunities to name both master projects and the exported map that will come out of that master project. The page size and orientation reference the layout or layouts that you'll produce in the master project. Including the software version, which is a simple yes or no prompt, can be helpful to distinguish if you have multiple GISS working together who do not have the same software version. The date of operational period is set up to automatically choose the current date or the next day's date, as it's common to produce a map the night before the day shift that it is needed. The operational period allows you to choose whether the map is for day or night shift. Let's say I'm working on an operations map. It's an Arch E size and it's got a landscape orientation, and it's going to be for tomorrow, day shift. And this would be the file name for that operations map, where the date of preparation is January 18th at 15:21 with the intended use of January 19th day shift. This last block in the Create Incident Maps and Digital Products section is for when you're working with multi-page maps, such as an IAP map packet or division tiles. The multi-page number allows you to pick if you're exporting all of the pages together into a multi-page PDF, or just a single page, or even the index cover page if you're making an IAP packet. This block also provides the file name of the grid index feature class if you're using spatial data to create a map series. We already back up the offline copy as part of the GISS workflow. It's important to also back up other data and projects. This section of the file namer will help you create those backup file names. It uses the current date and time automatically to date and timestamp your backups. And the master project backups will pull from whatever product type you have selected up in the Create Incident Maps and Digital Products section. The Other Supporting Documents section is a place to name miscellaneous files and data that aren't covered explicitly somewhere else in the workflow. The example given here is an ownership breakdown spreadsheet. That's a quick overview of the GeoOps file namer spreadsheet. It can save GISS considerable time on an incident when things are happening in real time. Please note that if you are attempting to use the spreadsheet for training purposes and the dates and times don't match your current date and time, you may need to manually adjust those date and time values after copying a given file name from the spreadsheet. Alternatively, you can unlock the spreadsheet and manually change the dates and times. Thanks for watching.